program features live coverage of an African safari and may include animal kills and carcasses. Viewer discretion is advised.
Good morning and welcome on your live safari experience, starting off with elephants disappearing off into some very dense vegetation. This is Safari Live.
Ready. Standing by.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1. You are live, you are live.
And a very good morning to all of you and welcome on the Sunrise Safari. My name is Jamie. This morning I have VM on camera with me and we are coming to you live from Djuma, Arathusa and Cheetah Plains Game Reserve in the Sabi Sand in the Greater Kruger National Park area of South Africa, where all kinds of wonders await you, from the elephants that were next to us, and we almost had the perfect joke because they were all walking down the road in front of us, and since it is Monday morning here in South Africa, I was going to make the joke about it being Monday morning traffic out here in the bush, but unfortunately they decided to move off the road just before the start of our Sunrise Safari. The joys of live wildlife filming mean that you can't plan anything. Oh, if you do want to send through any questions, because this is live, it means that you can interact with us, and you can do that on #SafariLive on Twitter, or you can email through to questions@WildEarthTV. You finished, Franklin? No? Okay. Just wait for you to finish. Good morning, Lucian, who is watching for the first time in the morning here in South Africa and says, won't all of the animals be sleepy? Not as sleepy as we are, but no, absolutely not. The morning is the best time to be out in the bush. Everything is wide awake. Predators are still moving about, especially on a chilly morning like this morning. It is very chilly. And the cloud cover is blowing away, but I think, what is it, 16 and 63? So 16 degrees centigrade, 63 Fahrenheit, which means it's nice and cool. You've got a chance of nocturnal creatures still moving about. They might not have gone to bed yet. The birds are wide awake, singing their chorus. The elephants clearly are wide awake. And we've got all kinds of exciting things planned, much like we did yesterday on the Sunset Safari. How was your Sunset Safari yesterday, VMP?
Very nice.
It was very nice. What have you?
Short,
Bit short. We've got some spurfowl starting off. Perhaps they'll give us a part of their dawn chorus. Yesterday, we started off in a very exciting way. VM and Brent filmed a live kill with Karula. She caught a daker. Terribly, terribly exciting stuff. We'd just found the lions, including the lion cubs that we'd spent the whole morning looking for. Then we were going to go to Cheetah Plains to find a quarantine, which is... Oh, Ellies are talking to each other, low rumbling. We're going to go to quarantine this morning. That's what we're going to do. He's on a Kudu kill. However, the wheels all fell off, or at least in Rusty's case, pointed in opposite directions. Brent hit a stump and bent the steering bar almost to a 90-degree angle, and Jigger had no signal. So it was disastrous for a little while, but then it all came together beautifully in the end. Karula hoisted her kill into a jackleberry. I'm not going to say any more. I do not want to ruin any of the surprises that we have planned. And speaking of Karula and her daker kill, let's head across to Brent so that he can tell you the full story.
Well, no story just yet this morning. As you can see, the daker is still atop the jackleberry. No sign of Karula and cubs. Now, that leads us to believe what could have happened. And on that cold, windy night, like last night, and dark night, maybe Karula caught something else on her way to fetch the cubs. So what we're going to do is we're going to head towards where we last spotted her around Weaver's Nest and go check the southern boundary for tracks. We will keep checking the spot throughout the drive. Hopefully they will arrive. And if not, we'll go look for lions. We'll see what else is out in this very chilly, wonderful part of the world. Now, Final control tells me it's 16 degrees Celsius. I don't believe them. It's much colder than that. I've even got blankets on, scarf. Very cold today. And can you believe it? Rusty is even steering better than it was before our little mishap yesterday. Remember, this is live, and you can use the hashtag Safari Live or the email address questions@WildEarthTV to send us any questions or comments. So to tell you what happened yesterday, well, let's start in the beginning. We got a report that Thandi, a female leopard, was heading towards the southeastern corner of Djuma. As we got there and we saw the leopard, I said, that doesn't look like Thandi, that looks like her mother. And it was successfully hunted for the majority of the sunrise safari. Then we set about to look for her on the sunset safari, and no sign of her in the area where we left her. Lots of elephants around. I said to him, I think the elephants have pushed her further to the south. So we went down to the Mawati River, spotted her tracks, and within about 5 meters of seeing her tracks, I was looking on the ground saying, where have her tracks gone? VM says, no, she's lying next to us. And there we go. And then we started following her again, hunting, and we saw her spot something, and she went down into the thickets, and then she just pounced and grabbed a young duiker, and she ate some of it, then hoisted it in the tree, and then she left to go find the cubs. So there's a bit more to the story. So just after she grabbed the duiker, we tried to get in there, and we hit a little stump that bent the steering arm on Rusty, and it happened to be a sort of comedy of errors, because Jeandre, who's on camera with me today, was with Jamie, and they were having problems with their radios, cutting out the feed and all sorts of weird things. So they rushed back to swap vehicles, and they went, and you were lucky enough to see Karula moving that duiker up into the jackalberry tree where we saw it this morning. However, VM and I had to call for assistance. Upar came with a hammer and some steel, and managed to straighten this, take the steering arm off, straighten it. The main last bit of straightening we actually did in the V of a Tamburti tree, with the two of us putting our weight on, and we managed to put it back in and carry on driving. And as we drove out and we came around the corner, we found Karula again on her way to fetch the cubs. So it was a very successful evening for us, and of course a bit of fun bush mechanics as well. Now, a lot of you, when you saw that picture that I put up of the steering arm, thought, wow. Now, you must realize that these steering arms on proper off-road vehicles are designed to actually bend when you hit something a bit hard, because if they didn't bend, you would actually damage a lot more pieces in the car. Your shock absorbers and tire rod ends, all that stuff would break if it bends. So it is actually designed to bend, and fortunately we are able to bend them back without too much effort. See them there? Bottom left, yeah. And there we go. We saw the first one on drive yesterday. This one's calling. Hopefully you call again for us. Come on. No. Here we go, the black cuckoo. So now I'm wondering if we can get some cuckoos on camera this morning. Now, there's quite a rare one that a friend of mine saw yesterday in the Sabi Sands, the thick-bulled cuckoo. So we're going to keep an eye out for him as well. And any other migrants that are arriving. I saw the first European bee-eaters of the year last year. Okay. So far, just from what we've heard, the cuckoos that have arrived: thick-billed cuckoo, black cuckoo, classes cuckoo, red-chested cuckoo, and African cuckoo. So 5, and there's probably about 11. I'm just trying to remember the rest of them. Levalance, great spotted, Deirdrex, Jacobin, might be missing one. There we go, there's that. Sounded like a little bird we don't see too often. Don't fly away. No, there they are. On top of the, jumping around there. Top left hand side of the tree. Yeah, there we go, there's hopping around there. Oh, where'd he go? He's hopping around in there. There we go. Oh, it's a southern black tit. And what's with him? Ooh, there's a difficult bird. For those of you who are birders. Aha! Look at that. Who can identify that one? Oh, and we can hear some weavers somewhere. Oh, he's eating a caterpillar. Now, who can identify that little LBJ, the little brown job? If you can, hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV. You can see that wind moving the poor little birdie around. And while we bird, we are being watched. Well, we were being watched. Decided our birding wasn't that interesting. The young male in Nyala. How are you? Picking at the monkey orange. Oh, there's actually a really nice bird party around here. You can hear them all. Yeah, a little white-browed scrub of it. I can hear a weaver making a noise. I can't see it yet. The tit is the southern black tit. Let's move forward a little bit. See if we can add a bird or two to our party. Well, apparently my scarf is getting some adoration. Now, it's a multi-purpose. I'm just trying to see. I think it could be a red-headed weaver, I heard. So I'm trying to look for a spot of red in that knobthorn tree. There's some white helmet strikes in the center. Hopping about. There's a boo-boo shrike there as well. Oh, there he goes. Where's that weaver? I can just hear that. That's the boo-boo shrike there. Oh, this is a bird party. It's the gift that keeps giving. There's quite a few different species in here. Oh, I think that weaver is on the other side. You can just hear it making a noise. There we go. And the yellow-billed hornbill. Well done, Sally in Oregon, says the black cuckoo. 156 species for her. So, if you are new, a lot of our viewers like to keep a bird list. Some people have even got over 200, and Sally's getting there with 156. slide forward a little bit. Now the nice thing about when you're birding like this and you're going very slowly is that if anything does happen to call or get spotted and alarmed at, you're going to hear it because you're moving quietly and slowly through the bush, stopping often. And I think our bird party is over. Oh, no, it's not. A telltale screer of a... There it is. Okay, Jeandre. He's going to pop out now. He's behind a little bit of wood now, but there. Okay, so zoom. A little bit to the left. Okay, keep going. A little bit to the right. There you go. Looks like a little cardinal woodpecker. That was that. Oh, southern bobo. Okay, zoom. Down. There we go. Look at that. That beautiful black white with that slight sort of rufous underbelly. Now, that, interestingly enough, is the brood parasite species for the black cuckoo. That is the bird the black cuckoo chooses to lay its eggs in. So they will actively look out for southern boo-boos, and southern boo-boos are almost always around these little dry riverbeds. So that's why we often find the black cuckoo also hanging around in the same areas. They're trying to find a boo-boo nest. So nice to see one out in the open. They're normally one of the skulking species that hides in the thickets. Oh, so we've got a first guess in for the bird. Is it a pipit? Unfortunately, it is not a pipit. Now, one must remember about pipits. Pipits are almost exclusively on the ground or on little trees or termite mounds around open areas. So they like short grasses. So it is not a pipit. Jared says, is it a chin spot batis? Unfortunately, it's not, Jared. It's a little bit too big. And remember, a chin spot batis, black and white. That was more of a grey, a little brown job. Okay, let's keep moving. Now, quite a few people said, is it a white-browed scrub robin? It's not. If we go back, look at if you got a screenshot of it, look at the shape of the bill. And it's a bit too sort of heavy set for a scrub robin. Now, it is quite a difficult one, especially first off the bat. Oh, Stenborg. Oh, they're disappearing. So we're going to go carefully check to see if Karula has come back or if she has made another kill in this area. This is the area where we left her in last night. While we do that, let's go see what Jamie's up to.
Jamie is in the process of making her way to Cheetah Plains, having done a little bit of a quick fix on our antenna in the front of our vehicle. That's where our final control comms come from. And I'm not entirely sure my fix is going to work. I ripped it out of where it's based a couple of days ago following a lioness through some dense vegetation, and I can't get it back in. So I've just sort of tied it on in the hope that this will be good enough for us to be able to hear questions on Cheetah Plains. We'll see how we go. Oh, hello. There's a better one in front. Okay. A better one. Aha, there is a better one, in that it's closer to us. Female giraffe in ages. Ah, and she doesn't want to be seen at all. Beautiful. Let's go a little bit further forward now that she's behind the trees. She might let us get her. No, not having it. Absolutely not having any of it. It's okay, girl. On a windy day like today, even a giraffe, especially a female, because they're so much smaller than the males, will be incredibly nervous. A pride like the Nkuhumas would absolutely be capable of catching one of these, a giraffe this size. And on a windy day, they probably survived the night feeling terrified. Winds blowing, sounds pitch black because there'd be no moon, cloud cover. Perfect hunting for the predators. And I would not be at all surprised if A, the Nkuhumas are not sitting on Djuma with a kill, and B, that Karula might. Well, that's why this poor little giraffe is a bit nervous. As described, the world's worst wind chime. The remains of Tundi's kill. She was absolutely not coming back to this area or staying in this area after her traumatizing experience with the baboons not too long ago. So kill scavenging birds hadn't managed to find it. There's our little giraffe. She's and is now bending over to feed. You'll notice with that head posture, females feed like that more often than the males do. It's one of the ways that supposedly it reduces competition between the males and the females in terms of feeding. You can also see, well, no, you probably can't see, but much, much shorter than the big bulls, the big dark bulls that we've been seeing. Also with the ossicones tufted instead of bald, and much, much thinner than that of a male. And you can see as she goes in to feed, you can see just how windy it truly is. Brrr. All sound and fury and no rain. Nothing quite like a giraffe in terms of elegance. They're very, very pretty creatures. I think she might even cross in front of us. Oh, no, she's going to stand exactly where we can barely see her. Let's see if we can't try and get a little bit closer. Or just a slightly better angle. Hello, girl. Just a massive branch break somewhere, and I actually think it was the wind blowing one of the rotten branches off a marula tree. We've always got to be careful of standing near dead marula trees on a windy day like today. In the meantime, she's giving us a perfect demonstration of her purple tongue. And Nina's, you're wondering, while we look at this female giraffe, we saw one earlier, and now she's a little bit away from her. You're wondering if a giraffe are usually on their own, unless they have... Oh, she got some up her nose there. Unless they have babies. Giraffe are interesting creatures in that they don't... Oh, look, here comes one at the back. Ah, very interesting. Nice comparison here as to why you shouldn't necessarily base age or sex off colour for a giraffe. Sorry, Ninas, I'll get back to you in a second. Because this is also a female, but much, much darker in colour. Now, they do tend to darken with age, and the males tend to be darker than the females, but you've got to be very careful, because just like human beings, there are different genetic variants. There you can see the colour contrast between the two. And then we actually have the answer to Nina's question, which is whether or not they are solitary. So giraffes are curious. They are quite happy to be on their own, particularly the big bulls, but they are quite happy to move about on their own, and then sometimes they come together, form herds. They're not territorial at all. The only time they will ever fight is when two males are fighting over a female in estrus. So they have what's known as a social aggregation. And they don't have a set herd structure. Eland are the same in certain areas. It will be dependent on the area that you're in. And sometimes we see journeys of giraffe, for that is the correct collective noun, like a pride of lions, a journey of giraffe of up to 7 or 8 members at a time, sometimes even more, depending upon where you happen to be. It's always a pleasure to see lots of them together. So there's no set herd structure. It's not like a pride of lions that will stay together for its entire life. Hello, girl. Hey, look, I can finally make my Monday morning traffic joke. Now, Justin, well, we're looking at the massive creature that is a giraffe, and the longer you look at them, the weirder they start to look. Justin wants to know if a giraffe gives birth standing up. And yes, they do, which means that a baby giraffe's first experience of the outside world is a 2-meter drop. You might find 1 or 2 females that have given birth lying down, but they do stand up. There's a story that that drop is actually necessary for a baby giraffe to start its struggle to get out of the amniotic sac. I don't believe that. I think that that would happen regardless. But elephants and giraffe, both of them, do not lie down to give birth. So both of their babies have a very difficult entrance into the world. Now, speaking about baby giraffe, interestingly enough, I'm hoping we're going to see some at some point relatively soon, although definitely not from this female. She doesn't look pregnant to me. Interesting thing about, and what makes giraffe different from antelope, you see the ossicones on the top of her head. An antelope, they are born without horns, and those horns start to develop when they're a couple of months old and poke through the skin, made of solid bone. In giraffe babies are actually born with those ossicones, but they lie flat against the head, the back of the head, so that when they're born it doesn't cause any kind of obstruction. And they are soft and almost made of cartilage. Let's just go with that. And floppy. And then as they start to develop, within a couple of days, those ossicones pop upright and stand up, and then the bone slowly starts to deposit and stays there permanently, which is why they are not called horns. They are called ossicones. That's a stunning image. A rising sun, giraffe walking down the road, and off she goes. The other magical thing, of course, about giraffe babies is that they are disproportionate, which sounds weird when you consider the adults, who are, I suppose you could also consider them rather disproportionate as well. And just by the way, look how much she's feeding with her head down when you compare it to the bulls that we see. What I mean when I say the babies are disproportionate, well, they have to be able to keep up with Mom's long stride, because even though she looks like she's walking slowly, she's already covered quite the distance between us and herself. Now, babies have to be able to keep up with their mothers, but at the same time they have to be able to get their heads under her to suckle. Marilee in Illinois, you're saying when a giraffe eats leaves from a branch, is it considered, as she's doing for us perfectly right now, with that purple tongue, is it considered to be a grazer or a browser? It is a browser, and it was pretty much a strict browser. In other words, it doesn't really supplement its food with anything else. It is purely a leaf-based diet. That being said, that's what all the textbooks say. I have seen giraffe eat grass. It's a very, very strange image. I thought the giraffe was bending down to drink at a puddle. Oh! And now? full of the joys this morning. That was such a random hop, skip and jump. Here we go, to the view that asked about whether or not our animals are asleep this morning. Nope, wide awake. Wide awake and positively skipping with joy. You'll probably find actually a fly or something bit her on the ankle or the inside of the leg, and she just flicked it away. How terribly entertaining she has been. So there are browsers, strict browsers, like things like Kudu, and as opposed to things like buffalo.
Oh, and look at this. Jeandre is fixing a virtual reality rig. Ha ha ha. Look at him. He's starting to blush already. Isn't he cute? Oh, poor Jeandre. Look, cameramen don't really like the camera. Look, and he's got no choice.
I love the camera.
Sorry, Tax is just getting hold of me. Wait, move the branch so we can go through. Sorry, Taxi. It's at Nyala Road South Junction with Mulwati in that big Ntoma tree there. Okay, let's carry on. We found another new road, but it's not actually a new road. It's a fire break that's been reopened. So, oh dear, it hasn't been reopened all the way. It stops. So also the one reason I chose to come up here is that we're the only car driving on it, so that means much easier to see any tracks. But so far no sign of Queen Karula. Let's go back to the main road. Wow. A little bit earlier we were looking at a little LBJ. A little brown job, which is a birding term for a small, indescript, generally brown or greyish little bird. And well done to James, Richard and Rebecca, who got it spot on. I will show you now what it was. There we go. Now, it was a yellow-throated petronia, a type of sparrow. Now, you can see that little yellow spot. We don't have them with the yellow spot. I mean, here's another picture. There we go. That's our race we get here. So some of the yellow-throated petronias don't have a yellow spot on their throat. But those big white sort of earmuffs are a very distinctive thing. Also shape of the beak. But there we go. Well done to you guys. It's not an easy bird. Okay. Onward. Whoopsie. Not if I stall. There we go. Onward. Onward in search of Queen Karula. Oh, hang on a second. Standing by. So one. Taxi, we saw a Bamba Munti last night, and she put it up in the Ntoma tree. But we left her at 6:30 around Weaver's Nest, heading south to fetch Mampimpans. I'm just seeing if she's come back. Okay, copy. Yeah, there was Nkonzo all over quarantine last night. Some was heading back down to the Mulwati, other was heading a bit more west. Sorry about that, Tax, and just finding out where we saw the lion tracks around quarantine. We did have a question. There we go. Oh, thank you, Jeandre. Thank you. Jacob in Virginia is wondering if I've ever seen a leopard leap from a tree to make a kill. Once. In Botswana. But it is less common. Okay. I wonder where she's gone. Maybe she's caught something in here, so we'll have a little loop down towards Treehouse Waterhole. This is one of her favorite entrance and exit points on Djuma. This is where we had that incredible sighting a week or so ago of her playing with the two little darlings, Shongile and Hosanna. Yesterday it pretended to be summer in the morning. Now it's gone again so quickly. The weather has been quite strange for October, as October is often called suicide month in southern and central Africa, and because the mercury regularly goes over 40 degrees. I don't think we've come close to 40 degrees this October yet. 40 degrees Celsius, of course. 40 degrees Fahrenheit would be bitterly unpleasant. I think it's time to listen a little bit, but while we do that, Shelley in Arizona would like to know about leopard territories. Now, I think the best way to show you, I'll take my blanket off, is to draw you a little map, and specifically about male leopard territories, where they are, and whatnot. Now I need a pen or a stick. Okay. How's this over here, Jeandre? Can you see my line? Okay, there you go. Let's just call back to the western boundary of the Sabi Sands. And okay. Very basic. Can we see it so far, Jeandre? And there we go. And more or less something like that. Okay. Let's just make this a bit smaller, just so we can see. Okay, here we go. Okay, Djuma is here. That's torchwood. This is lots of different things. Hoffman's, little Gauri, Annette's, Chitwa. I hear elephant somewhere. This is Arathusa. That is Sibambili. This is Elephant Plains. That's Ottawa. Okay, so I'm first asking about Djuma's territory. Djuma's territory, this is Buffalo's Hook here. Djuma's territory, so here's Djuma. Pretty much, from my understanding, just does this. We don't know really where it goes down here. Now, Mvula has been sort of hiding in this little corner here over the last while, just on the edge of his territory. Now, Tingana has got a massive territory, pretty much like that. So that's Djuma, Tingana. Now, you were asking about Anderson, the male. He comes to the Marakane River in Arathusa, and then literally he goes all the way down to Londolozi, into the Sand River down here, and he comes all the way around to Ottawa, and he comes back all the way for most of Sibambili till he hits, oh no, all the way here. Whoa, big territory. So he gets seen all over there. Now, you will get a little bit of overlap each way with these males depending on who's around at the moment. But I think that's the easiest way to show you territories for now. I'm going to have to draw a proper map of one of these days, and I'll pop it on the social media. Oh, back under the blankie, that's quite nice, warm. I was hoping we were going to hear some alarm calls while we were drawing away there, but alas. Hello, Marjorie. Marjorie is wondering, why was Karula's cubs not with her? She thought at this age they'd be hunting alongside her. Leopards don't do that, Marjorie. Even when those cubs are a year old, she'll try to leave them somewhere while she hunts. And quite often all that the cubs will do is ruin the hunt. Now, they hone their hunting skills in those times that they're left alone, chasing lizards and birds and all sorts of things. Oh, you're just testing. Oh, switching off. Sorry, I just heard beep, 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 beep. Jeandre playing with the buttons and the GoPros. But, so Marjorie, leopards don't need to learn how to hunt, neither do lions. This is a very big misconception that people have. Those those hunting skills are instinctive. They are born with them. All you have to do is let him get hungry and he'll learn how to hunt. And a perfect example of this is young Sindile, who learned how to hunt very quickly as soon as he got a little bit hungry. So we just had a nice drawing of all those leopard territories. And Nino would like to know, how often do those males fight? Actually very seldom. Now, it's only really when sorry. You can just hear that beautiful call. Nino, I haven't forgotten about you. You just hear it. Where is he, Jeandre? Let's try. It's right in the little bit of this thicket here. I'm sure we're going to spot it shortly. It's amazing how you can hear that bird so clearly, yet we can't see it. Can you see it, Jeandre? Maybe a bit further back. Let's try. Can you hear that? It sounds like it's right in the center of that thicket. Beautiful call there of the white-browed scrub robin. They being a proper skulker. Ooh, 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 ooh. Thought I heard an impala snort in the distance. Okay, we'll carry on. Sorry, Nina. They very seldom actually come to blows. Only when there's sort of a new male, coming into the area, or a young male coming into the area, they'll see him off. Or in case with Mvula, an old male who's being pushed. Sorry, I'm just listening. Thought someone had found a Karula crossing. Oh, we just want to have one last look here, because you never know. She could have quite easily caught something right here. So, hi, Joan in Washington. Sorry, the Game Drive radio is very busy at the moment. Joan is wondering, how does a female leopard let its female cub know which territory it's giving them? Well, by leaving it there, Joan, and she'll find that there's no other scent marks of other female leopards in that area. Now, it doesn't always work. If there's a high density of leopards, sometimes the females are pushed out, but normally they will sequester a section of their territory off to their female cub to give her an easier start in life. This is the last spot we saw Karula last night, just checking in the trees. Nothing there. So, well, let's go see how Jamie's doing down in the deep east.
We've finally made it onto Cheetah Plains. Let us go and find out whether or not Quarantine is still around with his Kudu kill. Andrew's already out and about. He says he's going to go and investigate and let us know. But in the meantime, I'm following Andrew's tire tracks because I don't know exactly where this kill is. I'm just working on the assumption that these are his tracks. I know the rough area, and we'll figure it out as we go along. I hear that you've been doing birds with Brent, and all the different types of cuckoos as well, I think he was talking about. I have to tell you that Brent and I had quite a serious disagreement last night on the subject of cuckoos, and whether or not we'd heard a classes cuckoo or a thick-billed cuckoo, which sound remarkably similar. And the end result of that was we probably were both listening to different birds, and we were probably both right, but it was a matter for serious disagreement before bed, arguing over the nuances of the cuckoo calls. I'm hoping this antenna fix is going to... Well, let's see. We'll work it out as we go along. It seems to be entirely directionally based. So if I get it pointing in the right direction, I should be able to hear your questions. Ah dear, not yet. Let's get out of the dip, and then we'll see if I can try that question once again. Perhaps it'll work, perhaps it won't. Oh, we've dealt with worse problems before. Michael, I think your question, I think I've got a bit of it. It's definitely Michael. And I think the question is, what is the biggest prey that a leopard can take down? If I'm not mistaken. Here we go, yes. Got it right. So Michael, it depends on if we're talking about a male or a female, since the males are so much larger than the females. The females, probably the biggest thing they can take down is a kudu, a slightly smallish kudu, not a big adult male kudu. For the males, there's stories of large male leopards taking down baby giraffe and baby buffalo. So that is within the realms of possibility. Sure, it's cold. There's even stories of Anderson hoisting baby giraffe up into trees. Now that's prey that is well over 100 kilograms, so well over 200 pounds. The fact that they can do that is absolutely phenomenal. It really truly is mind-boggling, the power of these animals. But that is probably the maximum. A leopard would not be capable of taking down buffalo, or a large adult buffalo or an adult giraffe. Standing by, Andrew. Sorry, I have to shelter down here.
Still around this model. So it's from 3 in a row, 10, come south towards Malaban.
Copy that, thank you. I'm at 3 in a row pan now. I'll see you shortly. Yes! You're still around. It'll all be worth it in the end. The struggle with the comms and the windy day. Let's go and have a look at Quarantine. My second time seeing him. Let's go see the size of his Kudu kill. Aha! Where is Quarantine's territory? There we go. That's an interesting thing about Quarantine, is he's just in the process of establishing a territory. Though it seems... I think this might actually... try and tuck my microphone under my hat as well. Hide it from the wind. His territory, he's in the process of establishing it. He's still quite a young male, and he's been tolerated by his older brother Shambambalana for a considerable period of time. He moves between Torchwood and Coral and Cheetah Plains, and I think probably a little bit into the Kruger National Park as well. It's difficult to know exactly, but mainly Torchwood, mainly sort of the eastern side of the northern Sabi Sands. Now that being said, would I call it a territory just yet? Because that's basically Shambambalana's territory, who is much older and, although not much bigger than Quarantine. Quarantine's a big boy. I'm not sure we'd call it a territory just yet. I think he's still a little bit young for us to go down that route. I think it's probably more like a home range that he's found. He's found a male that'll tolerate him. He's been known to share kills with Mvula in the past, who is a possible father. I'm not sure. I'm open to opinions as to whether or not we'd call it a territory. Young female leopards will establish a territory much earlier than the males. The males, right up until the age of about 6 or so, they'll be wandering about, attempting to find a vacuum before they're big enough to truly compete with a male leopard. And I think that's why Shambambalana, for the moment, although they still scrap every now and again, I think that's why he tolerates the presence of his younger brother. Hello. It's my favorite bird on Cheetah Plains. There's so many of them. We might even get lucky and see the wind blow the helmet of this bird up so we can see the red crest. Ah, no. You can see it's started looking up, lifting up. We had such an amazing sighting with the red-crested Korhann a couple of days ago, with it calling away. There's about 3 males that live in this area, and they're constantly calling to each other. And one day my patience and persistence will pay off, and we'll actually... Oh, he might call in response. I can hear a male calling elsewhere. I don't really want to lift up the volume of the microphone too much, though, or we don't, because otherwise you are going to be blasted by the sound of the wind. Let's go to quarantine before everybody starts to arrive. And we'll have to leave. Let's go make the most of our time with him. He's somewhere in this general direction. Sorry, Cursed. With the best of intentions, there's absolutely no way I can hear. But hold on, let's get to quarantine. And we can try and see if I can change the angle of the vehicle so that the antenna gets it. Did you get any of that, Vim? Nope. Oh dear. Most distressing. I did try. I really tried to fix it properly so that fix it as well as I can. It's amazing what gaffer tape and bungee cords can do. I think that was link across to Brent. I think that was the case. While we go and find quarantine. And I'll try and reposition so that we can hear our radio comms slightly more clearly. Was I right, Cursed? Is that what I meant to do? Oh dear. Are we live? Are we not live?
Welcome. Sorry about the giggling from Jeandre and myself. We just got from Kirsten. You are off air, but we are definitely not. We are live. So we're continuing our search for the Queen of Djuma on another one of the new, well, not new, but recently opened again firebreak roads. Isn't it lovely? It feels like we're in a new place driving down them. And much nicer than driving down Gowrie Main. I know Jeandre will be very happy. There's no corrugations on this road, so Jeandre is nodding his head profusely. Cameras don't like corrugations. So we're heading down towards Twin Dams Road and the Mwashi River. Honey badger tracks. Now, we've been discussing leopard territories, and John in Boston. Ooh, John, I'll get your question in a second. Oh, don't disappear. He's disappearing. There's a big male kudu. I think forward's going to be better for you, Jeandre. How's that? He's going to disappear. Yeah, look at that. Massive horns. Yes, you. Watch as he moves through the thick bush. If he gets to a low branch, watch how he puts those horns back. Almost touching his back to duck under things. Very impressive kudu bull. Who's disappearing and is gone. Sorry, John. Now, John would like to know whether male and female leopards can share territory. Most definitely so. Their territories work separately. The females will defend their territory from other females, and the males will defend their territory from other males. And a male leopard territory, let's take Tingana, for example, will hold multiple females. So within Tingana's territory, he's got Karula, Shadow, Salahesh, Tandi, trying to think, there's another, I can't remember her name, but there's some others down south near the Nyala boundary that also fall within his territory that we don't know so well. I'm just trying to avoid the VR rig and a branch, so it means I have to sit in the branches. Jeandre, you and your VR rig, look what it makes happen to me. Oh no, earpiece, come back. Oh, there we go. Now it's got it. It's got my earpiece. Thank you. This is, of course, Jeandre's fault. I blame him for everything. Okay, I'm back. So often a male leopard's territory will encompass 4 or 5 different females' territory. Of course, that gives him the best chance of spreading his genetic line by being able to mate with those different males. Now, females will actually move up to 2 or 3 territories out of their own territory to mate with males, so that any male that comes across their cubs will think that they might, or there's a possibility they might be the father, because if she hasn't mated with a male and he comes into that territory, he will kill the cubs, sometimes eat them. Now, the biggest danger to leopard cubs is actually other male leopards, and in this area about 70% of all the mortalities are caused by nomadic male leopards, so the likes of Sindile, Quarantine, Kunyuma, those guys are the biggest killers of leopard cubs. So we're going to slowly make our way back to the tree climbing diker in case Karula has snuck through and we have missed her. If unfortunately she isn't there, I think we'll go give Taxon a hand looking for the Nkahumas. Now, I know Jamie is very excited, and this is only the second time, I think, she's managed to spend time with one of, I think, everyone's favorite leopards. So let's go have a look.
Isn't he absolutely gorgeous? Oh, that was very graceful, Mr. Q. Got a little bit of a limp, but I cannot get over how massive he is getting as he makes his way towards his Kudu kill. It is an adult male Kudu, so there's plenty of meat on it. It is slightly smelly, but well done to Quarantine. And joy is that the position of our vehicle, we can actually hear your questions and the things happening that Kirst wants to tell us, which is even better. Wonderful. These are the magic moments of Cheetah Plains. To get to see this young male leopard truly actually coming into his prime now. And I don't take back what I said earlier about the territorial question, but he's definitely getting big enough to start competing soon. And I think there may well be some serious skirmishes between him and Shimbambalane in the future. Tucking into his Kudu kill. I think, I don't know, I mean, it's a discussion that's open for debate, but I will say that I think that young male leopards are probably the most beautiful. Yeah, it's difficult to compare, of course, but there's something so beautifully symmetrical about them. Oh, yay! Second time seeing Quarantine. I'm sure VM has seen him countless times.
The very first leopard I saw.
Really? Yeah. This was the very first leopard that VM ever saw. On this job. Yes, doing this job, to clarify. So the very first leopard that VM ever saw live. I'm trying to think which one was mine. I think it was Shadow and Sindile, actually. It took me a long time before I saw Karula. He's definitely a firm favourite. For our new viewers who are joining us for the first time, this might be your first time seeing Quarantine as well. He is the daughter of Queen Karula, who made that day... No, he's not the daughter. That's entirely not right. He is the son of Queen Karula, who made that Dacre kill yesterday afternoon on the Sunset Safari. And he is slowly getting to the point where he is almost... Well, he's really starting to come into his prime. So he's about... How old is he? He's 4. 3.5. 2012. Yeah, he would be about 4 now. Please, for those of you who I know have been watching for many, many years, just clarify exactly how old he is. I think he's 4. He looks about 4 years old, although he is massive. He also has a brother called Kunuma, who is Brent's favourite leopard, one of Brent's favourite leopards. Apparently has a tremendous personality, highly entertaining, doing all kinds of interesting things, like climbing onto the edge of rotting trees and smacking buffalo on the bottom and then running away. Young male leopards are always thoroughly entertaining. I arrived just after Kunuma and Quarantine dispersed away from their mother's territory. They were spending a huge amount of time on Djuma, and as far as I know, that's where the name Quarantine comes from. That is why he's called Quarantine, because he spent so much time around a quarantine clearing. So there you go, David in Napa. Although perhaps the name Quarantine might have been more appropriate for Sindile, in hindsight, with him having to be rushed off and put in quarantine after the incident with the rabid dog. I think that Quarantine is... As far as I know, Quarantine is named for the clearings, as he spent a lot of time around quarantine clearings. Is that right, Liam? Yeah, makes total sense. Oh, there we go. That is where, David, in Napa, that is where the name Quarantine comes from. Quarantine Clearings was named Quarantine Clearings because it's where cattle were quarantined. Or wildebeest, depending on who you ask. I've got 2 different answers out of 2 different sources. I'm too scared to reposition, I'm afraid. I would really like to, but I'm too scared to in case I can't hear Kirsty again. At the moment I can hear her perfectly. So for now we'll settle with the view that we have. And thank you to Siberia Zumi, and I'm sure many others who will also be sending through the clarification. He is indeed roughly 4 years old. He actually looks older, you know. He's a massive boy. And I think he's got quite a distinctive personality from what I understand. Now, Ninas, you were looking at this kill and you wanted to know what it is and if it is bigger than his mum's. It is much, much bigger than his mum's. It is an adult male kudu, or at least a teenage male kudu. You can just see the start of the curve of the horns there. And he's obviously been snacking on this for at least the last day or so. But it's absolutely massive. So the Dacre that Karula caught was probably... We were trying to work out exactly how much it would weigh. We sort of came to the conclusion it would be just under 20 odd kilograms or so. An adult male kudu, on the other hand, is much, much larger. Over 100 kilograms. Although this is, I'm not sure exactly how old this one was. But it is a kudu with quite large horns, so he's done an amazing job. Now, Susan, judging by the smell, this kill has been around for at least 2 days. It is quite smelly if you end up on the wrong side of it. Luckily, we're on the right side of it at the moment. I can't see from where we are now, and I wasn't able to see when we came in, just how much she's eaten. It might have been from not last night, but the night before, if I had to guess roughly. Obviously, it took a little while for people to find him. But yes, I think it was from 2 evenings ago, roughly. He was only found yesterday afternoon, or at the end of yesterday morning, the end of game drive then. And of course we never managed to get there yesterday afternoon after things went so disastrously wrong. Oh no, Wind, don't change. Don't do that to us. We found such a prime position. Now, when you saw him scratching his claws up against the silver cluster leaf, you would have noticed he is very full-bellied. So he's been quite happily feeding. Now this massive kudu carcass is in a place where there's hardly any appropriate hoisting trees. The only one that I can see is far away, a marula tree in the distance. I can't see anything else here. That he would have had to have dragged it very, very far to get it to a good hoisting tree. So he's fortunate in that here on Cheetah Plains, there's actually not that much hyena activity, not compared to Djuma, say, or around Elephant Plains or Arathusa. There's obviously hyena here, but they tend, I think this must be the outskirts of a clan territory. Perhaps if he'd been a little bit further to the east, he'd have more of a chance of losing it. But remember how Shimbambalana was feeding off that buffalo carcass for 2 days to bursting point, right on the boundary with Kruger, and he had no competition from hyenas. This makes Cheetah Plains a really good spot for leopards. They don't have to worry too much about losing their kills. If this had been on Djuma, he would have lost it last night to the hyenas. But it's not, it's Cheetah Plains. Now it's either Mick or Nick, but I think we're doing quite well here. Mick 1011, you wanted to know whether or not a leopard could get sick from eating rotten meat, which is of course what he's doing at the moment. No, the answer is very, very seldom. So the digestive systems of all of our predators are incredibly resilient. Their stomach acid is exceptionally powerful, although it is particularly with hyenas that is the case. They're capable of essentially dissolving bone. But their digestive systems are built to cope with rotten meat. They're exposed to it from a very, very young age, and they've got all kinds of immunity to the various bacteria. That being said, it is very common to come upon diarrhea from predators, or vomit as well, although a lot of the time the vomit is caused by, or the vomiting is caused by the animal eating too quickly, consuming either too much fur or a shard of bone or hoof that they actually can't digest properly, and then they just have to bring it up again. It's very common to see them sitting and eating off grass. It's amazing how much better at it these animals are than we are in terms of coping with disease, injury, infection. They're very, very powerful immune systems. That being said, if you ever find yourself, I don't know in what kind of position you might be, if you ever find yourself in a hands-on position with an anesthetized predator, important to remember you should probably be wearing gloves when you're exposing yourself to their saliva or anything to do with them. They carry an enormous number of internal parasites. You'll often find tapeworm in their scat and in their vomit. So their digestive systems are particularly unpleasant, and their saliva is very dangerous. You can actually get serious, serious infections from it. You know, I mean, human saliva is the same. A human bite can be worse than that of a dog, if, you know, in those situations. But it's important to be very careful of predators. It's one of the big reasons why we don't ever touch predator scat with our bare hands. We do collect predator scat to give to Panthera, which is something that we will be doing once quarantine moves away from this kill. Obviously, I don't think he'd be terribly impressed with me if I got out right now. He's clearly enjoying his kudu breakfast. See him grappling with it. Those paws are still... He still looks like he's growing into his paws to me. He's going to be huge. Enormous boy. I know this isn't a great position right now, but he is going to tire of feeding soon. And then we'll be able to... He'll probably come straight back to where he was lying and settle back down again. Look at the size of his feet. You see that dew claw hooking into the skin, holding the kill in place while he pulls and tears at the flesh. It's actually not an easy job eating raw meat. And predators have to work quite hard to move the meat from the bones. Ah, that is wonderful news. What an extraordinary morning. We've got one leopard here all the way on Cheetah Plains on a kill. Let's go and have a look at another.
Quickly, that side. Look at that, we've found Karula and both the cubs. Karula has made another kill. So after she killed that duiker last night, she's killed an adult male impala. There's young Hosanna on the kill. And little Shongile was actually stalking us, and that's what we started on. Then Hosanna made his way towards his mom. Isn't this amazing? Aren't we absolutely lucky? Karula's got 2 kills. It means she's going to be with us for a little while. What it looks like from the tracks that we found, she went to fetch the cubs, and on her way back she must have spotted this impala, and it was ideal hunting weather for her last night. Strong windy conditions, dark skies, and she managed to catch this adult male impala. Now Sean's wondering, are there visual differences between male and female leopards that can be seen from a distance? Indeed they are, Sean, and it's mostly size. Also, a big male leopard will have a dewlap, sort of loose skin hanging around his neck. And then and little Hosanna is playing more than feeding with the kill. Let me just try and move forward for you a little bit there, Jeandre. Ooh, that's not good. Bendix is getting stuck. How's that? I think we can get a little bit further. How's that? We're going to get a gap through. Practice. Got an ear. Got an eye. Got an ear. Got a nose. Like a game you play with a little child. I got your ear. Having too much fun. Now we saw young Shongile play with a duiker carcass not so long ago. So as you can see, a lot of those instincts are there. So it's those habits are instinctual. He knows what to do, even though he's a little guy. He got stuck in a thorn tree. Bite that Ziziphus. How are you going to get out of this one now? He got stuck on his tail, so now he's bitten it. Oh, there we go. He's got rid of it now. Is he still fighting with a stick, or is he fighting with some fluff he managed to grab this time? Fluff. And a stick. He's trying to get that thorny stick away from his playground. Now, I couldn't think of anything worse than putting a buffalo thorn in my mouth. It gives you an idea how tough these creatures are. He's getting angry with it. Keeps hooking him. Well, that'll be a lesson. Don't bite buffalo thorns. So he might actually have a thorn in his mouth that he's trying to get rid of. On his tongue. Or was it in his paw? I can't really see from here. Yeah, back to playing. Ray is wondering how we can tell these leopards apart. Well, Ray, fortunately we spend a lot of time with them. Now with the two cubs, Hosanna is the bigger of the cubs, and that's him. He's the little male. And when he turns around, you can see his face is quite different from his sister's. Not only his spot pattern, but just his general, his face in general. His sister's also got quite lovely brown eyes, darker eyes than he does. But at a quick glance, you can tell the difference between the two cubs from their size. Karula, she's just very distinct. I mean, she is the leopard we see the most, although she is lying with her back to us. And little Shongile is sleeping right next to us on the right. And it's just going to stick with the leopards at the kill now, see if Hosanna starts doing something fun again. Now, isn't this amazing? We're going to jump from one leopard here on Djuma, or actually from 3 leopards here on Djuma to 1 on Cheetah Plains.
How incredibly lucky are we? What a lovely morning to have to choose between Karula and her cubs and the gorgeous Quarantine. And he is a seriously handsome boy. Just look at that face. You can see he's starting to develop his dewlap as well. The sort of loose skin at the base of a male leopard's neck that serves a very important protective function if they ever do come into confrontation with each other. And those massive muscles that join the head to the shoulders. He's starting to look like a seriously powerful male. Hello, gorgeous. And his beautiful eye makeup. These males are definitely pretty boys. Now, looking at his back, Vim was just telling me about the scar, the massive injury that he had on his back. I can see the scar now. I can see there's a slight indentation in his back from where he had some kind of scrap with somebody. When was it, Vim?
About a year ago.
About a year ago. This time about a year ago. I wonder what it was that he encountered. Either way, he's had a lucky escape, because that's quite a vulnerable spot on any animal. Any bite near the spine can be exceptionally dangerous, because apart from the possibility of the initial injury, severing something around the spinal cord, the chances of infection, if they do go into the bone itself, are very, very dangerous. Ah, where are we off to? Are we going on an adventure, boy? I wonder if he's just on the lookout for more shade, or if he's going to go and have a drink at 3 in a row pan. Let's just wait for a moment before we reposition, just because I have to pick my spots carefully. Ha, excuse the pun. So does Kirsty. I have to pick my positioning of the vehicle carefully, so that we make sure that we've got communication with the outside world, and so that we can hear your questions coming through. That's a stunning view. Calvin, sorry, I've got part of your question, which is, are the leopards in danger? I think you said because of their skin. Am I correct there? Okay, their fur, their pelt. I see. Calvin, yes, to an extent that is one of the risks that leopards do face, unfortunately, in this world. Luckily in the Sabi Sand, the leopards are absolutely 100% safe and protected in that particular sense. But there are traditional, first of all, people who would like to use leopards for their fur. And then there's actually a serious tradition in a lot of the local cultures of wearing a leopard pelt. Where'd he go? Oh, there. He's crawling under a bush willow. You strange cat. Ha! What an odd spot to pick. Okay, fair enough. I guess it makes sense. It's nice and sheltered. He's hot, and it's windy, so he's found a nice spot to settle. Calvin, yes, there are traditional uses as well of using a leopard pelt. In certain cultures it is a sign of becoming a man to wear a leopard pelt. So yes, they do get killed for it in other parts of South Africa, which is an absolute tragedy and a travesty. And there are lots and lots of organizations out there geared towards educating people about the magic of these creatures and actually trying to create artificial or faux fur, artificial pelts, to prevent leopards being poached and killed for their skins. And that is across the board in Africa. We're very lucky in that we don't have that problem here. The other major problem, of course, in terms of leopards and threats to leopards, because it's difficult to track down and hunt a leopard, but when they are on farms, and there are lots and lots of rural farms in South Africa, they're seen as a tremendous threat to the livestock, and farmers often go out of their way to get rid of them in whatever way they can possibly think of. But again, there are tremendous education programs. South Africa's got some of the strongest environmental protection laws in the world, and there are lots and lots of organizations out there that are fighting to educate people and protect these incredible cats. He's found the perfect snoozing spot. Sure, you'd never know he was there. If we didn't know about this Kudu kill, and we just happened to be driving along, he would be the easiest thing in the world to miss. At that angle that he's in, it makes you wonder how many leopards we've driven past. Although it's something I don't actually really want to think about. He's completely hidden. He's less than, I'd say he's about 40 meters from the road. And we would have had no idea he was there. We would have just watched us drive past. Oh, while Quarantine snoozes off his heavy belly, his younger brother is currently filling his.